on Tuesday already, and it's feeling like this week is really just about half over, and it's absolutely amazing for you to be here. Thank you so much for joining me. And today we've got several great stories to share with you from flag burning, which is now another issue that's out there. It's been thrown out by the president. Of course, issue number two. Yes, we're talking soldiers all over again. And once again, if you're subscribed, you already got the video sent to you. Just released. I had some difficulty uploading it, and my long form videos have been coming out. Oh, I'd say probably about 4 o'clock every single day. They come out a little bit earlier, great, but that's been the issue. And of course, the last thing here that maybe we'll have a chance to talk a little bit about is about the markets, but who knows where we're going to be here. And of course, I'll remind you, I even brought the peanuts again because, of course, if you were here yesterday, you know the inside story about that. But I am so glad to have you here. So the first issue we're talking about, of course, deals specifically with flag burning, right? And the president signed an executive order against flag burning. Now, of course, he keeps on finding issues that are, well, divisive. And trust me, before the president ever got involved, flag burning is extremely divisive anyway. I would never do anything like that. And of course, I know most of my viewers here would never ever do anything like that as well. But the fact of the matter is, I think, if I'm correct, this has gone all the way to the United States Supreme Court. And there's all kinds of things that go to the U.S. Supreme Court. And the U.S. Supreme Court said, hey, the bottom line is it is an expression of free speech. And so this is deemed part of someone's First Amendment rights. And I got to be honest with you, disturbing, you better believe it. I mean, really, really disturbing stuff. But I'm here, I think that's kind of what free speech is all about. And when you start limiting free speech, well, you run across all kinds of crazy headaches. Hey, welcome for joining the Economic Report. Glad to have you folks here. Make sure you hit like and subscribe so I can deliver to you on a daily basis. Drop your comments in here below because today is a Q&A, and today we're talking about flag burning. And the president just set up an executive order about this, and it's worthy of discussing for a few reasons, and I can share them why. The free speech is not necessarily popular speech, and trust me, you'll never catch this fellow doing anything with flag burning. But the fact of the matter is, free speech is exactly that, and you don't want a limitation on free speech. That being the case, we need to understand a couple things about it, that free speech by nature is extremely divisive. By nature, and of course the idea is sticks and stones may break your bones, but names and words may not hurt you. And of course, you better believe it that that's kind of how the free speech has been looked at over the years by the United States Supreme Court. There was a case of Westboro Baptist Church, which is a loony right-wing church that was going to soldier funerals. I mean, talk about horrible, horrible stuff. And they were involved in what they would call free speech protests as well. And it was, seriously, folks, it was the worst, and I do mean some of the worst things going on here. And of course, what do we have here? We know that the protests at U.S. soldier funerals was deemed as free speech as long as it was not interrupted. But boy, it was horrible, and Lord knows, in really, really bad taste. Hey, Ship, your question was, what hour is in you now? I think what you probably are asking me is, what time is it here? The time right now is 4:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time inside of the United States. that is where we are right here. And of course, I do have people who watch the channel throughout the entire Anglosphere, whether you're in the United States, whether you're in Canada, whether you're in UK, Australia, New Zealand, or anywhere else where there's English-speaking people. I know I get a large group of people following this channel, so just want to make sure that I want to make you are all welcome here, no matter who you are, no matter where you are. And if you think somebody should be joining us, go ahead and invite them, because that is, once again, super cool to have people from Lord knows where joining us here. And of course, me is 4:50, so good heavens, you are 12 hours behind me. So if I'm thinking 12 hours behind me, you could like be somewhere, maybe India, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, how are you today, Lotto? Glad to have you here. Thanks for joining me. You are awesome, and I'm glad to have you here, pal. So once again, this is the Economic Report. We just talked a little bit about Trump's executive order on flag burning. Hey guys, I have soccer practice. Hey, we'll absolutely wish you good luck, Venus. Without a doubt, Indonesia, super cool country. Glad that you're here. And yeah, there's nothing to be afraid of. You go out there and you take it to them, Venus. That's the key right there. So, and Chris, welcome. Glad to have you here as well. So we talked flag burning, and of course, extremely, extremely unpopular stuff. It's very, very, it's terrible stuff, to be honest with you. But the Supreme Court has said, the free speech does protect even some of the most egregious, horrible things. So I want to make sure that you're aware of that. And it's Ebony, glad to have you here. Ebony, I think I've had you on here before. Welcome here to the Economic Report. And Ebony, I think you're one of my subscribers, if I can call out. So I'll go ahead and give you a shout out there. Chris, hope that you and Venus and the rest of you are part of the Economic Report as well, because people like you make this channel happen. And of course, we are on a mad dash to 500 subscribers, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be one of those people here. Of course, I'm delivering content on a regular basis. We have a long form upload as well as shorts, and of course, my lives that I do at least 3 to 5 times a week. So I'm just sharing this with you, that I'm here, and I'm here for the subscribers. People have asked me, so what's the theme behind this channel? I'll say, hey, this is where DC politics and Wall Street economics hit Main Street. And of course, I try to give you a no-nonsense message here at the Economic Report, and of course, designed for people just like us. What else could I share with you? I'd go ahead and talk about the troop deployments as well, because today's long form video that I put out really does have a ton of things here as well. I'll be honest with you, NPC, I don't have OnlyFans. I think it's a gambling channel, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm not that guy. I work too hard for my money, and I try not to gamble it away. Gambling by nature is kind of a losing proposition, my friend. So I'm just sharing that with you as well. And I'm into making money, and of course, trying to be conservative with my money and not blow the money. So that's just kind of where I'm at, pal. So please forgive me. I'm not that guy. That being said, we can go on to number 2 here. And number 2, of course, is the whole issue about soldiers in cities inside of the United States. President Trump does have some unique ability to go ahead and send soldiers into a place like D.C. Because, well, there is presidential abilities there. And of course, the question becomes, well, does the president have the ability to send soldiers into places that aren't D.C.? For instance, there's been talk about New York City, there's been talk about Chicago, and there's been talk about even places like Baltimore. And of course, if there's a high crime incidence rate, there's a few factors that the president said he was going to pay particular attention to in his administration, including drug violence, illegal immigration, and of course, high incidence rates of murder, and of course, some of the other things with illegal immigration and drug trafficking. Well, the president said that those are things that I'm going to take a look at there. So I want to make sure that we are really aware of what his call is and what his goal is. Now, of course, it's very controversial. Um, I know that in the long form video I created today, we spoke about a couple things here where federal soldiers have been sent into cities in the past. We talked specifically about what the Washington administration's Whiskey Rebellion, also talked about the Jackson administration's Force Act, which were both points where the government had received substantial threats that required the executive office of the executive branch of government to go ahead and take action. Of course, the executive branch, what is their job to do is to enforce the law. Congress passes the law and the executive branch takes action. And of course, but these are a little bit different. Like during the Civil War, for instance, there were soldiers that were shipped right from like the Battle of Gettysburg right to New York City to put down the draft riots that were taking place. So think about that. You were just fighting at Gettysburg, the largest battle ever fought in the Western Hemisphere, and the next thing you know, you're on a train and you're getting sent to New York City to put down the draft riots. So those are examples of where federal soldiers have been sent to cities like New York City, for instance. Of course, during the Vietnam War, there were some massive riots that took place as well, and they were rioting for all different types of reasons. And of course, federal soldiers were sent there as well. Spoke to a Vietnam vet the other day, and he was telling me a story that during the Vietnam War, he was a cook, was domestic, was not inside, did not go over to Vietnam. But when the riots broke out, they said, hey, go ahead and turn in your soup ladle. You are no longer cooking. You are going to grab an M16 and we're sending you into Baltimore. And there he was as a young man, 20 years old, walking the streets of Baltimore with a bunch of other soldiers during the 1960s as well. So I guess what I'm saying is there have been incidents throughout U.S. history where soldiers have been sent to cities, quite often putting down riots. This seems to be more like a policing type action. I guess one murder is too many murders in any city. I think my viewers would agree with this as well. So when you have a place like a Chicago, Illinois, where there's 80 to 100 shootings over the course of a weekend, that's a lot. And I don't know when it ever became okay to accept that type of nonsense in our cities. But the fact is that we're coming across as a law and order type of a president. So these are very, very real things as well to pay close attention to. And with that, give me a like and a subscribe here and drop a comment in here. I've got a couple minutes left of this live, and I promised that I would save at least a portion of this to a Q&A. So if you're here and you have any questions, go ahead and fire them away. I've got some great people that have already chimed in here today. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of where we are today. Today, very, very slight update on the markets. I did not check crypto, nor have I checked the precious metals prices, which is something I've been doing on a pretty regular basis. But we know that yesterday Ethereum was down like 10%, down still 4,000, but lower 4,000s. We know that Bitcoin was down about to 110,000 yesterday per coin, and of course Solana was even down to about 188 per coin as well. So I just want to make sure that we were aware that's where we were yesterday. And if you want to go ahead and check those prices out, you at least have a baseline to check them, like where they were yesterday, because those markets are constantly, and I do mean constantly, trading, and we get a pretty wide range of what's going on there. Those markets move like super quick because they're always open. At least the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, actually close people go home for the night, but those other markets are constantly moving, and maybe that's another reason that you could see wide fluctuations in prices. So, hey, it's been Brian at the Economic Report. I want to thank you so much for joining me. You absolutely make my day by being here, and of course, I want to remind you that you are liked and you are subscribed. You are getting alive on a regular basis. Remember, folks, that the biggest battle you fight is the one between your ears, between your thoughts, your actions, and your attitude. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, remember, stop, say hi to somebody. You'll make their day. Don't forget to be awesome. Thank you for your time and energy here, and thank you for joining us at the Economic Report. I will catch you tomorrow. Have a great day.